my job was to summarize the book and to make connections with it.
Good morning, I'm Shira, and my job was to come up with some quotes or sentences from the book that were memorable that I wanted to share with you.
Hi everybody, I'm Michelle, and my job is word wizard. A word wizard person comes up with new and interesting and descriptive vocabulary words in the story.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to go first with the summary, and then we can decide who wants to go next with connections and word wizard. Okay. So the story of Freedom Summer is about two boys, Joe and John Henry, and they're best friends, and they're growing up in Mississippi in the southern United States in the 1960s. And Joe has light-colored skin, and John Henry has dark-colored skin. And it's very hot in Mississippi in the summer, and both boys love to go swimming. But they can't go swimming together because it's a time of change in Mississippi. Everything is segregated, so black and white kids can't do things together. So they can only go swimming in a creek. But as things are changing, there's a new law that desegregation, where they're going to be able to go to the public pool together. And they're totally, completely thrilled about it. They're so excited they can hardly stand it, that the next day they're going to be able to go to the swimming pool.
That's so cool!
And they run to get there, and then they're completely shocked when they show up that people are working to fill in the pool with asphalt so that nobody can go swimming in it anymore.
Why? Well, let's figure that out.
And then they're really angry and disappointed, and it causes them to want to make things change in their work.
Should I go next?
Sure, Shira.
So I chose parts of the book that I wanted to share with you. The first sentence I chose was John Henry, they went swimming, and so he says, he crawls like a catfish, blows bubbles like a swamp monster, but he doesn't swim in the town pool with me. And I chose this sentence because I thought it was very descriptive. He's giving examples so I know what a good swimmer he is, and you know, I can imagine and visualize him being like a monster, swimming around, being a swamp monster. But then I can see that they're kind of sad also because he can't go in the town pool with him. So I just thought that was a good sentence from the book. And
at this point, I'd like to interrupt as the teacher and facilitate and remind you that I'd like you to build conversation from each job. So even within her job, she's got a couple of quotes. If we can build conversation.
so my next quote is, so after they go to the pool and they realize that the asphalt is being put in, John Henry says, let's go back to Fiddler's Creek. I didn't want to swim in this old pool anyway. And I thought that was really interesting because he was so, I don't think he's telling the truth there. He was so excited about swimming in the pool, but now he's saying, I didn't really want to swim there anyway. And I think he's kind of lying. Yeah, it's kind of like an excuse. He's lying because he really does, but he doesn't want to cry in front of his friend. He doesn't want to get sad. So I thought that was an interesting quote.
It's not a good feeling, I don't think.
Yeah, I also liked that exact part where Joe lies because he doesn't want his friend to feel bad, I guess.
Yes.
And I was wondering, I was trying to think if there was ever a situation where you might feel like you wanted to do that, where you would want to deny the truth of something so someone else wouldn't feel
bad. On my birthday or for Hanukkah, sometimes I get presents, and I don't really like them. But I don't want to hurt that person's feeling who bought me the present, so I'll say something like, that's really pretty, or I wanted one of those, or thank you so much.
Yeah, my mom
this
taught
is
me to
great."
do that too. You
Yeah,
have to
because
be
you don't
nice
wanna-
and considerate.
Oh, and what if you open something you already have it? You're not like,
Oh, yeah.
I already have this.
But I
you
hate
know?
when that happens.
Yeah, because that's weird. And in Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, one of the books that we read in school, that happens. The 3-year-old brother, he gets a present that he already had.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
that.
he just tells the person right away, I already have this, because he doesn't know he's only 3, but it's kind of rude.
With
but-
the dad's boss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then dad is so embarrassed because his son made a little bit of a fool of himself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think people lie all the time like that, like not to be mean, but just because they, want to protect each other almost.
Yeah. But is it possible that maybe John Henry would have felt better if Joe had not lied? If Joe had empathized with him and said, this is really a bummer.
Yeah, maybe.
Instead of saying that he didn't want, I'm not sure that made him feel better for his friend to deny that it was a terrible thing that just happened.
I'm not sure.
I guess it's something we could think about.
Yeah. Did you find any
Should I go?
interesting words, Michelle?
Yeah, I did. I found, it says here, I got one for a friend, I say, and scoot out the door. I picked this because I think scoot is a word we can tell from the context that it means like go out the door, push out the door, and it just makes the writing more interesting. Instead of saying go out the door, you use a synonym or a different kind of adjective, and it always makes the writer's writing, or even when somebody speaks, it just makes it more interesting and brings on, an interest in conversation.
Yeah, I like that too, because it's almost a little uncomfortable, scoot. And he was clearly uncomfortable because his friend couldn't come in the store with him. And he didn't want to say, my friend's standing outside, and he didn't want to deal with all of the issues. So he
Right.
kind of
I think
scooted out.
that word also kind of lets us know that this book doesn't take place now. Because I never hear anyone say, we're going to scoot out the door.
Really?
I think maybe it's just a word that was used earlier in America, because I just don't hear us saying that word today.
Yeah.
That's interesting that the language can kind of give you the time and place.
Yeah. County dump trucks are here. They grind and back up to the empty pool. Workers rake steaming asphalt into the hole where sparkling clean water can be used. So, I didn't learn necessarily any new vocabulary words, but I just think the writing in general is very colorful, very descriptive. Grind and sparkling clean water, just steaming asphalt. I could see the steam coming out of the hot asphalt that they're laying down. And what it does to me as a reader and a listener, it just makes me so much more interested in the story, and it makes me want to keep reading. And I know personally sometimes I have a hard time thinking of adjectives, but I just look around Miss Quinn's room and I look for resources to use and reminders, and I ask my friends for help and my teacher, and I just think that's really how I want to be an author. I want to use really strong descriptive language.
Michelle, when I was reading this book as our homework, because Miss Quinn assigned it for homework, I didn't know what asphalt was. I had to go ask my mom, because I had really only heard of the word concrete before and hadn't heard that word asphalt, so I wasn't sure. But my mom was home in the other room, so she explained it to me.
Yeah, so what did Mom tell you that it meant?
She told me it was kind of like concrete,
Yeah.
but a little different, that it was
Yeah.
like it's kind of like what our roads are made out of before it's all hard.
Yeah.
That it
It's
like
that black
pours the
soft
black
stuff, and they pour it out
Yeah,
of
that's
a truck,
what
and it
she
like
said.
lays the ground, the foundation. Cool. That's neat that you asked your mom. I may be embarrassed to do that. I think I should try asking next time.
I don't want to get us too off track, because I like the descriptive language that you chose, but I noticed on that page and that picture
Mm-hmm.
that was something that I missed the first time that I read it. I had to reread that the John Henry's brother is actually the one who has to do the work of filling in the pool. And it makes you wonder, how bad was he feeling that he had to participate in filling in the swimming
And you can
pool?
see the illustration in his face, he looks very sad by it.